Resemblance is one of the most disturbing films I've seen this year. Maybe one of the most disturbing films I've ever seen. It's not because of any murderous screams or jump scares or any excessive gore, which is not even in the film, but the real world implications that this film applies and the way it shows the POV of a society that I didn't even know existed. Some of this stuff is going to haunt my dreams forever. Let's talk about it. Kellyanne is the main character of this film. The protagonist is sitting in on a court case of an alleged serial killer who killed 3 different girls who matched the same description. The movie's one part court procedural, think Saint Omer or Anatomy of Fall, and also a part cyber thriller. The alleged serial killer videotapes his victims and sell it to the highest bidder on the dark web. And this has been a myth for a long time on the interwebs that these things exist. And I've seen some movies before about this, but this is the most realistic and scary version of it that makes it feel like it's an actual thing that's happening. And what makes this movie very, very effective is not what you see, it's what you hear and what your imagination believes. The way they present the information and everything that's going on, it's always this eerie, tense feeling, and something is just off. And the movie opens up brilliantly. It starts with the opening statements from the lawyers and it details what's happening on these videos and with the profile of this guy, and we get the defense and the prosecution, and it's quiet. We're just reading the room. You're seeing the alleged man that did the serial killing. You're seeing Kellyanne and how she's focused on him, and you're trying to figure out what her job is or what she's doing here. And it really just ignites your imagination in a horrifying way. And there's so many questions through this movie that drives this film. The engagement in this film is, did he do it? Why is Kellyanne so obsessed with it? What is her real motives? We're so detached from her because she comes off as a cold, calculating character that you never understand fully why she's here. Even to the end of the film, I'm still not 100% sure, but it was always engaging, especially as things slowly became revealed. As the case details throughout the movie starts to become unraveled and revealed, Kellyanne's involvement in everything starts to show, and you see that she's sleeping outside the courtroom so she could be first in line, so she get to sit in and watch everything. She's on the dark web looking for these tapes for some odd reason we don't know why. And she is a very functioning person in the world, and that's what makes it very scary. I mean, she has a job, she's a model, and she's sacrificed some of those things just so she can get closer to what's going on. And eventually the movie juxtapositions this with a different character, Clementine, who she befriends because they're both kind of interested in this case. Clementine a little bit more emotional, less calculated and cold. She believes that the person on trial is innocent and being framed, and the discussions that they have and their relationship, how it builds, really makes you go, okay, maybe she's not as bad of a person as I thought she was in the beginning of the movie. Maybe she has a different type of interest. This is a revenge plot. The movie just kept me guessing on what was going on throughout while giving me all this chilling information. And the differences here is where Clementine is introduced, the way her character is written. If you watch a lot of movies, you assume, okay, something's off about her. And then even when they react to finally seeing or hearing a video of one of the murders that he commits, their reactions and how they're so different even confuses you on what's going on in the film, but also really is foreshadowing of where it's going to lead, and you don't know that at the moment. The movie's tension and attention to detail is brilliant, led by one of the best performances of the year by Juliette Gariepy. This lengths she goes to get the video and do all these different things that she's trying to do in this film is insane, and it just blew my mind that we're seeing the POV of these people who we couldn't even imagine existing, people who get off on watching other people murder in snuff films, and the adulation or the fever dream feel that she gets when she sees these things is so uncomfortable. This movie is a look at people who are obsessed with true crime stories and documentaries and those type of stories, and the people who idolizes the killer instead of feeling bad for the victims. And the movie's never telling you the person who wrote this directed agrees with their point of view or disagrees with it. Is just showing it and humanizing them in a way where you understand these people are functioning people that live amongst you. You might work right next to them. And I feel like it was a very interesting POV into a world that I have no idea about. And I love when movies can do that for me, when it can show me a different aspect or different version of life that feels similar to what I'm going through, but it's far off as well. And this movie does this really well. And some of the attention to detail leads to this movie being like an Arthurian tale. It's so crazy. If you watch like the wallpaper means something, her username that she uses to log into stuff means something. Every little thing means something and adds to the story and the lore of the film. From the roller coaster court case that is preceded, the heartbreaking performance by Elizabeth Locke, who's one of the moms in the film. I really felt for her and her character. To the last 20 minutes, which is some of the strangest but most intriguing climax that I've ever seen in a film before. I think this movie goes for a lot, is very ambitious. It's one of the most unique serial killer films I've ever seen because it's not really about the serial killer himself or the alleged serial killer. It's about the people he affects by the way he does what he does, by videotaping and selling to people. We're seeing how it affects people outside, the victim's parents, the victims themselves, the people who are obsessed with him, but in different ways. The way the media portrays everything, even the talk shows. I really liked how they did that, but the focus is on Kellyanne, this protagonist who you might be like, well, if I want to follow this person. But with that said, I think this is one of the most uncomfortable, horrifying films that I've watched all year, and I think it's one of the best films of the year, period. I'm going to give Red Rooms an A. Question of the day is, what is your favorite film about a serial killer? Drop all your comments down below and let me know. And you can watch more of my content.